The following content is provided under a Creative Commons license. Your support will help MIT OpenCourseware continue to offer high-quality educational resources for free. To make a donation or to view additional materials from hundreds of MIT courses, visit MIT OpenCourseware at ocw.mit.edu.
To the first field trip for the chemistry of sport. As you know, at the beginning of this course, one of the things that we said to get you interested in chemistry of sports is you get a pair of nice running shoes, a heart rate monitor, and that you be able to use these tools to evaluate your progress towards your fitness goals, and in studying along with us the subject material on the fitness of sports. But now it's time to pay for all the free stuff, because in exchange for all this free stuff, you've agreed and are going to be participating in a very important study called the Newton Running Study at MIT. And as I told you from the very beginning, you're going to have the privilege of being instructed by one of the leading authorities in running today, Danny Abshire, the owner and founder of Newton Running. Danny Abshire is right here to my right. This is the future of running, everybody. And mark my words. But Danny has, as you know, revolutionized running shoes. He has a design that we think is revolutionary anyhow, called the Newton, and it's called that for a reason, as you'll find out very shortly. But the reason that we're all here today is because we need to go over the things that we need to know for the Newton running shoe protocol. And since we only have a limited amount of time, what I wanted to do is get as much time as possible with you here with Danny, so that he could introduce himself, tell you a little bit about Newton shoes, and then spend some time with you all on the track, instructing you on proper running technique and the theory behind the Newton running shoe. Let me tell you something. Danny sponsors the most elite triathletes and runners in the world today. People like Craig Alexander and McKeely Jones and Natasha Bodman.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the greatest triathletes in the whole world are fighting to wear his shoes, that, I think, speaks volumes for what this man has done in running. So let me introduce you, and before I forget, in addition to Danny here, his man on the East Coast, Tom Curran, has graciously agreed to come in here and help you out along with Danny. You're about to learn more than you ever knew in your whole life about running shoes, running technique, and the art and science of running. So with that, I have great pleasure in introducing to you the man, Danny Abshire.
Oh, wow. Hey, thank you. Well, I don't know. I mean, Ken, I don't know, to live up to that, I'm going to have to work really hard. So today we're going to introduce you mainly. Newton's not only a technology that we use in the forefoot of the shoe to help you understand the ground faster, thus to get off the ground faster, to absorb the shock and return or lose less energy. You can look at it both ways. But the premise to all of this is backing up, and basically in a minute we're going to do this. We're going to take your shoes off. We're going to run barefoot. I'm going to challenge you to see where you strike when you're barefoot. It's called natural running form or natural running gait. So if we take off our shoes, that's going to tell us how to run when we put shoes on. Unfortunately, a lot of modern shoes dictate or override those sensors and almost influence the way you run. That's a heavy landing. Okay, so part of what you're going to find out when you run barefoot is how lightly, and that girl is not very big. She shouldn't be hitting that hard, right? So the idea is that we run lightly, we're going to sense the ground, and we're going to touch and lift. So what we came up with, it's not just the footwear company, because we spent 15 years watching runners run barefoot, seeing where you land, and then developing our technology around that landing area. And consequently, it's not the heel. So a lot of shoes are designed to strike your heel, roll through the step, and then push off. Well, what am I doing? This is Newton, it's Sir Isaac Newton, it's about physics and the physics of running. So if I did that, I'm basically breaking my forward momentum because my heel is out in front of my body mass. Now I'm rolling through the step, and now my body mass is over the center of my foot strike. What do I have to do now if I break? I have to really push off hard again to start that momentum or keep that momentum. So breaking, stopping, and then putting momentum back is a lot of energy use. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to be more efficient with your running. How can you be more economical using the power output to go farther or faster with a smaller amount of energy instead of braking and pushing and using the big wheel or pushing a lot of effort into your running. So just by doing this, you'll become a more economical runner. Once you master that, then you're going to do an alternation of running in your current shoe and running in the Newtons. And then, of course, Patty and Steve and the Proctors are going to show you, hey, we're going to alternate this. We're going to try to make it scientific. You're going to record your times, and Ryan was good to put the website up to record your times. It's important that you record your times right away after your workout, so we have the data input. So at the end of semester, Patty is not scrambling to try to get the final data together. So ideally, you do everything as scientific as possible. Your hydration, your food intake, the time of day. If you do it inside, then our outside environmental factors are lessened. So we're trying to make this a proper scientific study. So do your part with what they're requesting for you to do at each workout. So with that in mind, let's jump right into it. I would like for everybody to take your shoes off right now. $100 if they run down 100 meters and back and say that they struck their heel. So go check it out. Let's go. Come on. Come here. You're a gymnast. What do you think? Do people do that?
No.
Okay, without any influence, I want you to just run down and back. No heel striking. Look at that. Not a single person. Forefoot, midfoot. You can't strike your heel when you run barefoot. Oh, look at this. These guys are sprinting. Okay. Oh, you guys are tied for first. Nice, nice. A little impact there, but listen. Are you listening as well? Only when you were braking did you hear like a heavy impact. So the idea of what did you just experience? Oh, anybody $100? Be honest. Steve, raise your hand. No.
It happened, but it wasn't like a...
After initial
it didn't feel like a good thing.
Right. You tried. You right. You wanted the $100. You lose. I figured you out. No, so typically when you run barefoot, the sensors in your feet, you have more sensors in your feet than you do in your hands. So guess what? They just got freed up. They freed up enough to say, I'm going to land lightly and I'm going to shorten my stride. And if you want to run faster, what do? You lean a little and you just pick up the cadence. So your foot's a natural lever. You basically blocked out your rear foot negative mechanics by running this way. So this is the first step of the experience that I want you to have today. So now the other components are, when the foot lands more parallel to the ground surface, that's here to here, you turn into a rigid propulsion unit. Your foot is a rigid propulsive unit. You block out all this negative rear foot mechanics that everybody talks to you about. Oh, you're a pronator. You should have a heavy stability shoe. Well, if you land here, you block that out. So now you only have to worry if you have a forefoot misalignment or not. So now the other components that are really going to help you are, if I look down while I'm running, I kind of slow down. If I look forward, then that's where I'm going to go. So looking forward pulls you forward. Simply, the other problem is so many people run with power like we were talking about. So now that I have you landing more underneath your body mass, We don't have to worry about that, you know, braking and then pushing. Right now, we're going to try to find the sweet spot. The sweet spot is, if I land here, do I really have to push off so hard, okay, and use muscle power? So if I'm here, I'm really activating my calf and my Achilles. If I land here underneath my body mass and I feel my foot start to lever, if I just simply lift with my hip flexors, now I'm not using muscle power out of the gastroc and the soleus to really push off. So let's try to minimize the amount of power that you're using this time, because the couple of girls that were in first, you guys were like zooming. That's great, but now let's try to minimize how much effort you put into that. So this time I'd like for you to, let's kind of spread out. To come this way, you guys, come this way. Spread out a little. Don't stack up so much. Now this time, look forward, lean a tiny bit from your waist. You want to keep your shoulders back and erect so you can breathe properly, and lean a little bit from the waist and keep your chin up and look forward. And this time, just think about running on hot coals. This goes back to the 1800s when, you know, track coaches said then, run like you're running on hot coals. What does that mean? You touch, and as soon as you touch, you lift. So higher cadence, right? So look down, lean a little, touch and lift, don't push off. Try that. Ready? Begin. Much quieter, if you notice how much quieter you are. And of course they pick it up to us. All right.
Of course not. Of course not.
Okay, hop, hop. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, that's called an instructor, right? It's time to come. Good job. Look forward, relax, 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 relax. Okay. Very good. Okay. Okay, so did that feel any different, you guys? Come on, you can say yes, no, or maybe. Please say better. Okay. Really, the point of this whole exercise is to get you to start learning your economy. Okay, find your position, relax, look forward. You have to like think of your whole body, right? We want to put your whole body together. You're a gymnast, so you know you have to think about your mind and your body together. So many people, like when we run, it's like, well, I'm robotic, you know, I'm sort of like, I'm stiff, or I hold my arms down, or I'm doing something like that. What you really want to do is, like, in your mind, think about relaxing all your muscles, relaxing your shoulders. Maybe you've been on the computer all day, you know, maybe your neck's tight, maybe your arms are tight. Think about where you're tight for a minute and take some deep breaths and relax, okay? This is part of the whole process. Now, if you feel there's a muscle group that's tight, does anybody have any particular tight areas, hamstring, calf, any chronic problems at the moment? Does anybody, please raise your hand before we start doing it. What's your chronic problem? Calf muscle. And from, what do you think it's from?
I don't know. It's like, I don't run very much, but if I do run, they get tight.
Okay, you're probably running too much up onto your toes. Okay, so if you're running too much on the toes, or you're heel striking and then pushing off hard, you're really activating your calf muscle group. So the idea is, if you look at my foot, when I strike, I'm going to try to strike on the ball of my foot, but what does the rest of my foot do? It settles down, right? It settles down. Okay, otherwise, if I heel strike, ooh, I just shocked my body, right? There's no shock absorption and there's no energy return if I hit my heel like that. You can feel it right up to the spine, right? Now, if I go to my toes, what do I have? I have a good propulsion unit, but I have no cushion. If I land on the ball of my foot, I can do this all day. I can't do the other two. Okay, so think about this. So this is all very logical. Now, you know, I've been running for like 30 years, so you have to logically just think about your body, super relax, and just move forward with gravity, okay? So what we'll do this time is I want you to run slow, look forward, and be vertical. Just be vertical right here, okay? Just kind of warm up, okay? Feel real vertical right through here, okay? Let's go, let's go. Look forward, stand more vertical. Okay, and just halfway down the track. Okay, so going back, I want you to look forward and lean a little and feel the difference. Now look forward and lean this time, not vertical here. Ready? Try that. Okay, what was the main difference you felt there? Did you feel anything? Come on, you guys got to start talking. I can't do all of this.
Well, I felt like my body was pulling my weight forward.
You did.
There was more like forward momentum.
Easy, that's right. What you're trying to do there is find your upper body position that pulls you forward with gravity, as opposed to if you're very vertical and you're running. That's right, you're almost running in place. So what we're trying to do now is establish your sweet spot. And that's where the center of your body mass is over your landing mass, and now you're getting pulled. It's like free energy, right? We're talking about conservation of energy, another Newton law. But let's think about how we can move across, because running is a difficult sport if you do not do it right. It's very injurious. So if you can think about how you land, how you move forward, relax, be economical, don't do too much too fast, and let me give you a list of about 20 other things, then you become a very good runner. But the main thing is the body awareness and the positioning and the relaxation, okay? So now you guys just got the basic components, right? If you need reminders, take your shoes off to remind you of good form. So I want you to run this way whether you're running in your regular shoe, and then when you receive the Newtons, this is the way you run in that shoe. And we'll have you give us some feedback on how that initial feeling is too. All right, so all right, everybody grab your shoes back on, it's time to work out. It's all about feeling it. So what I was talking about, this mind and body connection I was just mentioning, you'll feel it as soon as you become more efficient and being pulled forward with less effort. You'll know that that's the right place to land. You know, some people try to overstride and use, especially anyone with longer legs in here, are going to try to typically overstride. Now the cadence that you want to try to achieve for someone who has long legs would be around 180 steps per minute. And that's both sides, right and left sides, right? So about 85 strides per minute per one side. 90, excuse me, about 80. 80 is 160. So the 90 is for people who are a little bit shorter. And then higher cadence than that, around 100 per side per minute, is going to be for shorter people, like 5 foot and under. So you can develop the cadence, but it also has a relationship to the length of your legs, okay? So the idea is that higher cadence makes you roll more like a wheel. There again, if you have the long stride, you're going to overstride and brake. And that's gonna be good for, you know, a short distance, but to try to create that braking, you also have the component of pronation and supination in there. So there's a lot of reasons to shorten the stride, quicken the cadence. You're basically rolling like a wheel, okay? So the idea is that you're gonna touch lightly underneath the center of the mass. And then the heel's gonna settle. You're gonna feel the leverage forward, and at that moment, you just simply lift. So it's basically like this, it's touch and lift, okay? That's an individual thing. So you're gonna feel it as we go. We're gonna take a lap. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna look at each individual. We're gonna look at you as a group, and I'm gonna run, and I'm gonna say do this and do that, and try to concentrate on what I tell you to do. So while I'm getting my shoes on, I want you guys to think about what we just did and just take one easy warm-up lap. It's not about speed. Just think about your position. Steve will take you around on the first lap, and then come back, and then we'll work with you guys individually. Yeah, so look and lean and relax and land lightly. No heavy hitting, land light. Yeah, that's right. You raised your body upright, you leaned back a little. See, that's a break. So it's absolutely normal to strike your heel anytime you run, but what will you be doing if you do so? Checking your speed usually, all right? So anybody have any questions? Are there any little aching muscles or anything besides this calf?
Is this purely for long distance running, or like what's?
No. This is a technique. Well, here's a good analogy. Okay, so when I walk, I strike my heel and I'm using more of my hip and I'm rolling through. And when I sprint, I'm a little bit more onto my forefoot and toes, you know, and you maintain that for maybe 100 meters, 400 meters. But then the muscles are going to fatigue if you're going 100%, right? So where you land on your feet dictates the speed. So you can walk a full day in this mode, sprint 100 meters in this mode, you know, but you can do, in this mode, you can go faster or slower, and you can sustain that with minimal energy output. So it's about the energy output and the position of your landing. It's going to dictate your speed. The cadence is key, whether you're running slow with high cadence or running faster with high cadence. You can still run with a small amount of energy as opposed to the braking and propulsive, which creates a lot of vertical oscillation of the body. So you want to try to keep everything moving forward with minimal vertical. And then you heard a couple of people running around the track. What am I doing? Even though I land midfoot, I'm going very vertical. I'm landing with more impact than I really need to. It's just getting that feel. It's about the feel, right? It's about being able to feel it. So look, let's take off. There's so many people. Let's take off real slow. And I'm going to run beside each of you and I'm going to give you a couple of pointers, okay? So everybody over here, pack up under the track. Any questions so far? You guys are good. Just don't push off too hard. Is your calf pretty tight right now?
Yeah.
Okay, well don't do too much, all right?
Okay.
All right, don't overdo it. Okay, all right, let's go everybody. Here we go. Look forward, slow down. Lift your knee a little bit. Nice job. Very good. Okay, no push-pull, just relax, just relax. Okay, everybody? Good job. Lean a little. Very good. Knee and drop your foot straight down. Okay, now look forward and lean a little from your waist. See how that picked up? Okay, these guys are probably still running. All right, cool. All right. All right, going for another lap. This is great. Okay, so, you know, really, you get to see a lot of different variations of form, and a lot of people have some inflexibilities, and we'll probably try to address a little of that right now. Because it's even starting a program, it's usually, you know, biomechanical issue with the foot. It's a form issue of like understanding where the body should be. And then the third big thing is usually flexibility or inflexibility. So we'll kind of address some of that because we don't want to have anybody get injured, you know, just because it's a running program. They have to get the basics down. So stop, slow down. All right. So you guys feeling that? I mean, the form, feeling how the form kind of pulls you forward a little easier? You guys feeling that? Any questions? All right. Is anybody feeling any particularly tight muscles or anything like that?
I actually, just the past like couple weeks, when I run, I get like, I don't know if it's shin splints or something, but.
Yeah. Well, you have a tendency to be a little bit too far onto your toes. And so you're really going to activate those frontal muscles because you're really kind of raised up like that. So what you have to, try this for me. If you're getting too far under the toes, you have to, this is a good exercise. You have to, is any of you guys skiers? Anybody skiers? Not many? Think about a skiing position where you're using your lower body as a shock absorber, right? If you ski straight legs, number one, you're out of control. Number two, you're back, right? So if you think about this, we look at it as an athletic position. So you name almost any sport you do, you assume an athletic position. What does that do? It centers your body mass over your feet. So you're ready to go lateral, fore and aft. But more importantly, when you run, it's the ability to absorb that impact, okay? So get the athletic position. Now, some of you, I just noticed, like when we're running around, are pretty tight. So the idea is if your calves are really tight, your hamstrings are really tight, before you do too much with this program, you need to work on a flexibility program, okay? You need to get down, you need to stretch your hamstrings, you need to stretch your calves. You need to make sure that, the time that you're gunning for on these laps is not all out, right? It's off of this heart rate that we're establishing, and that you're not pushing too hard to injure yourself, right? It's very important. It's about doing it right. So if you have any particular tightnesses, just go through a routine. If we don't really have time to go through too many stretches or anything like that, but if you're feeling any particular area, the other thing is like self-massage. So a lot of problems that originate in the calf tightness manifest in the foot. So if you have this anterior tibialis that connects to all these tendons going to your toes, if you're pushing off too hard with the toes or gripping with the toes for stability or landing too far forward, you're going to get tight in here. And some people will call that shin splints. If your calf group is really tight and you have to also lift to get parallel to the ground, you're going to use the anterior tibialis as opposed to having ankle flexibility. Okay, so everything's connected, right? And typically too, if you're having a tight hamstring, you may have tight hip flexors. You can stretch the hamstrings all day long, but unless the hip flexors are flexible enough, now everything's rotated. So usually it's opposite side has to be treated the same way. So if I have a problem back here, I can work on this, but it's also probably occurring here. From sitting all day, or if you ride the bike a long time, you really tighten up the hip flexors, which puts a lot of pressure on your hamstrings, your high hamstring. All right, so it's all connected. It's, the balance of everything. So when I get you in this athletic position, the balance is using the braking and propulsive muscles more simultaneously as opposed to using them isolated, all braking and then all propulsive. All right? So if you're having any particular problems, this is a very easy way. The old hurdler stretch was back like this. That's going to hyperextend your knee a bit. Bring this in, nice and relaxed here. If you need to start out with a slight knee bend because you're so tight here, start out with a slight knee bend and then hold that. The other part is to breathe while you're stretching. That really gets oxygen to the muscles and lets them relax. So hold that for 10 to 15 seconds and then relax. Go to the other side. This will kind of get both the calf and the hamstring warmed up a bit. That, a little bit of the butterfly, just a little easy stretch downward. These are all the quick things that I like to do. You can actually just, rub your calf unweighted. See if there's any knots in there, work on that. Cross over like this. Just relax. Just real basic stuff. You guys have probably done lots of stretching. I don't know. Have you guys do any stretching at all? The other part is, making sure that, your upper body, your arms are adjusted. That's the other thing I saw when people were running by. What do you do with the arms? Okay, so it's like, I'm going to take your arm, I'm going to pin it on right here, the way it is, right? You don't want to move across the body. That's also counter-rotating your lower body, and it's wasted motion. So the arms are here, 90 degrees, and moving forward, just nice and relaxed, okay? But let the motion come from here. Don't use your shoulders to create the motion. You'll see it like with sprinters, they'll come out of the blocks and they're super accentuated. Well, they have to break inertia to get that initial power going, but as they drive down, then everything comes in tight and fast. So once we break the initial movement, everything should be very compact, very relaxed. So it is, combining the upper body movement with the lower body movement. And the speed will dictate that. So it's a counter rotation between right and left, and there is a counter rotation between your shoulders and hips. But for economy, long distance, you want to minimize that motion. So once it's up to speed, you can feel yourself just getting pulled forward very economically, very relaxing. Okay? All right, so definitely take a few minutes. Usually you're going to take warm-up lap. After the warm-up lap or after X amount of warm-up laps, concentrate on any areas that are a little tight. Think about it. So even when you're doing your warm-up, you know, boy, my right calf's a little tight. So just stop for a minute, shake it out, breathe, relax, stretch out, and then start again. You know, if it's really bad, then you be the judge. Don't work out that day, do something else. Try to work it in another time. So as we talk about, you know, training, endurance training, it's always smarter. Like if your coach or your schedule says, I'm training for a marathon, I'm supposed to do 16 miles on Sunday, but my hamstring or my calf or my knee is killing me, what do? All right, don't, and cross train, both great options. Don't go running 16 miles, you're gonna get hurt. So the two things are, you know, little bit forward, you're a little bit too far forward, okay? So let's not, you know, we gotta find that happy place, right? Not too far forward, not too far back. Just try to find the most relaxing spot for you. You're driving a little with your shoulders, okay? So there again, the arms are here, and I'm in here like this, not like this, right? Because that's gonna rotate. That's gonna rotate you and slow you down. So nice and relaxed. Athletic position. I'm going vertical right now. Now I'm gonna lean and go. The other component is the steps. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the steps also, you know, gives you the high rev, low impact, economy. Okay, try one more time. A little bit quicker steps, looking forward, don't lean too much, right? Just regulate your speed, okay? Find the really comfortable speed, because now we're gonna give out heart rate monitors this afternoon. You're gonna find your heart rate. You might be finding that you're running too hard or too fast. Bring it down to that, and that's where you wanna become super efficient. And you'll see a huge fitness improvement here over the next few weeks, which is gonna make it seem easier, but you'll probably be working at the same heart rate to note the time and the distance, okay? All right, does anybody have any questions at all? Make sure you take care of yourself. Flexibility, you know, I mean, if you can afford a massage, massage is great. You know, if not, you got to really work on your flexibility. So the big flexibilities areas are your calf, your hamstrings, you know, the hip flexors. This is what I want you to lift with. So please go to newtonrunning.com and look at what we call land lever lift. So we want you to be in this athletic position, looking forward, leaning forward a little. We want you to touch the ground, feel your foot lever, and then as soon as you feel the leverage, you just want to lift. It's touching and lifting, and that creates this less impact and less damage to the working muscles. Creates less energy to run. So land lever lift, so it's basically this. So it should be really fun and easy, and then the workouts will be a lot more fun. I mean, you're going to develop a lot of fitness in a short period of time. Just think about form. It's really important, okay? All right, that's all I got for you guys.